Today we're going to test two combines, the Fendt versus the John Deere. All right guys, so we have the John Deere X9 1000 and we have our Fendt Ideal 9 out here. And we are going to test these today. We had John Deere come out and get theirs all set up exactly how they would want it set up. And they helped us fine tune this a little bit because we changed different varieties of wheat and the losses went up, so we adjusted this. So they are both running at under 1 bushel to the acre loss. So they're both running in ideal situations. We're gonna go do a walk around of each one and then we'll get going here. We'll go over a little bit of the John Deere first. So like he said, it's an X9000, so it's about a 550 horsepower machine. It has a 45-foot header on it. It has a 420 bushel grain tank. How it comes out the back, it doesn't spread the chaff. It kind of combines the straw and the chaff into the windrow, which doesn't matter a ton. It's a nice machine. It has all automatic settings. Ours has automatic settings too that will slow down and speed up depending on the yield. This field right now is going just shy of 150 bushel per acre, and both machines are going to go roughly about 3 miles an hour average. You know, it'll slow down when it gets heavy and they speed up when it gets light, but yep. But we can do a little walk around here. I mean, anybody who knows a combine, it's just under here you have a lot of very complicated pulleys. All these combines are very similar as far as how much stuff is going on. In here you have your rotor, and that's the same on both of them. You have a rotor for all your threshing, and then under here you have a chaffer, and then you have some sieves. I'll see if I can get you a view of those from back here. So that was the top, that was the chaffer. So they both kind of look like that. That's what kind of lets the grain fall through and everything else blows out the back. Now, like he said, this one doesn't blow any of the chaff out to the sides. It just puts everything right out this chute onto the ground. So it's a little bit different than ours, and we'll show you the differences here in a minute. Ladder folds down out of this, which is kind of cool. And I mean, anybody who knows about a combine, it's a combine. There isn't a whole lot different with it. The main differences are in the cab. And then this is a 45-foot header, HD 45R. So we have the sides of the headers lined up on that side, and you can see there's only 5 feet sticking out past this one. So it's not that much bigger. We were trying to get a 40-foot header for this, so it could be apples to apples, but they didn't have one. So this is what we get, so nobody complain about it. But yeah, it's a big, nice header. It has the auger right there that kind of just helps feed everything in the middle. They're draper headers, so they have belts on here that feed them into the middle. And then there is a belt right here that feeds it into the auger that goes into the feeder house. Now, the Fendt is the same, except for it doesn't have the auger back there. It doesn't have that auger that helps feed it in. And I believe this belt right here is not quite as wide as the John Deere. So it's got a little bit smaller area for the grain to feed into. Let's go walk around the Fendt and kind of show you that one a little bit, what the differences are. This one has tires on the header that help kind of guide it. This one has these, which help flex this header, because they're both flex headers. So this has 2 different ways to flex, and maybe the John Deere does too. This, you can use these 4 sensors to control your height, or if you want to go clear on the ground, each one of these plates is a pressure sensor, so you could sit on the ground and I could lower the pressure, and this whole thing all the way across will flex almost a foot up or down. So cutting really uneven stuff would be just fine. Or if you have rocks, if you hit a rock, it'll lift up over that rock. Yep. But we have our nice black Fendt. I really like the black color. I've liked it. Yep. It looks about the same underneath the side, just a bunch of pulleys and belts and whatnot. But back here in the back, let's So ours, the difference in the windrows is the John Deere windrow has a lot more chaff in it because it doesn't blow the chaff out. This one, so these little fans right here, the chaff falls in there and it blows it out the side. And then all your straw comes shooting over the top. So you don't get as much chaff in your windrow. Now, a lot of guys shred the straw. We don't. We bale it and sell it to a dairy. So we like to have nice clean straw. So not having chaff in the straw is probably a little bit better, but they both do a good job.
Yep. They could both spread it, chop it up, and you wouldn't even see anything.
Yeah. Now this one it has positive pressure on the exhaust, so there's no dust can get in there. It constantly has air blowing out. So nothing can get in the exhaust, because that's one of the main problems and the main concerns with running a combine in a field is the possibility of starting a fire. A hot bearing or some dust on the exhaust could light on fire, and that's one concern that you're always worried about. So we always try and do our best to keep an eye out for that kind of stuff and not have that kind of stuff happen. But he's gonna get in the Fendt and he's gonna film and he's gonna show you the inside of the Fendt, how roomy it is, if it has any features, like does it have a little fridge?
It has a fridge, and the fridge is really good.
Yeah, so
Almost
it's got a
too
fridge.
good.
The John Deere also has a fridge, so like we'll show you all the little amenities, because you know, creature comforts is definitely a thing. And you want to have a good, comfortable cab, and you want to have everything, because you're out here all day long. You want to be comfortable.
In some of my our long combine video, I go through all that too, but I'll do a separate one to show the differences between these two.
Yeah, so he's going to show you the inside of this one. I'm going to go hop in the John Deere and get going in that one, and I'll show you the inside of that one. And then at the end of the day, we'll do a little recap of how it did and which one. Honestly, there's not gonna be one we like better than the other. We really like our Fendt. We've been running it for 2 years. We really like it.
It's cheaper.
It was cheaper. But I'm gonna hop in this John Deere, and I've already run it a little bit, and I already know that I kind of like it too. So I mean, they're both great machines, but we're gonna show you them and let you decide down in the comments which one you prefer and which one you like better. Okay, we just got started, but we need to calibrate. So we're gonna go throw some pans underneath and count the seeds and see how well they're doing to do some adjustments if needed. So right now we're just checking to see how much loss we have so we can make some adjustments through a pan underneath it. And now we are blowing all the stuff out, seeing how much is in there. We'll see how much is in the bottom of this once it all gets blown out. Looks like we're losing a decent amount. Yes. So we need to make some adjustments. Ideally, we can set this thing up so we don't have hardly any loss out the back. So we're still in the tuning stage. So we just did the calculations, and this actually only accounts to less than basically 1 bushel per acre loss. So not too bad actually. Okay, we just panned another little bit after doing some changes, and we're 0.55 bushel the acre. So it's doing a lot better. We're gonna adjust a couple more things. Okay, we're just cruising along here. This thing's growling, but it kind of auto adjusts. But so we've thrown pans on this, and now they've thrown some pans on that. So we're gonna go up here and stop and go see what that looks like, and we may need to do some adjusting on that. See how much the loss is on that thing, because you have sensors that tell you how much you're getting, your bushel per acre. I mean, 170, pretty good. But then this is your loss and stuff here, but you don't always want to have to trust your sensors. So we're gonna go see how much we're actually getting. Well, here's the Fendt, and it does a good job. I honestly think I like the windrow that the Fendt puts out a little better than the John Deere. It just makes it, I don't know what's different about it. It's just a little bit fluffier. Probably makes it a little bit easier for the baler. But we got the John Deere right up behind the Fendt, and we're over here. They threw the pan, so they're testing to see what the results are. So off the first throw of the pan, without any adjustments, we're losing 1.5 bushel on the Fendt. So probably make a few adjustments to see if we can get that down.
So let's go over here.
Well, here comes Christopher. We just did the John Deere combine loss with the pan, and he's going to throw this pan under there, and we'll do the Fendt, see what it's losing. See if he trips and falls and gets run over. There we go. Lovely, breathe all that in. There's the fan in the windrow. You did pretty good.
Okay, so we just, and my shadow's blocking the, we just threw a second pan under the Fendt. They're counting the kernels, but it looks like it's losing a lot less now that we just changed a couple settings. So, and it's this different type of wheat. So this wheat is a different variety than what he was doing. This is taller and a lot different. So he said when he went to this one, all of his settings, he had to change all of them because he was losing a bunch. So we kind of have to recalibrate it now that we're on a different variety of wheat. But it looks like we're getting it tuned in pretty good. Okay, well, that's the loss now on the Fendt, 0.18 bushel the acre, which isn't too bad. We basically cut it in half from the last time. So we could do a couple more adjustments to get that down a little bit more. All right, well, I think we have both machines kind of dialed in, at least for this variety. The John Deere is around half a bushel per acre loss, and the Fendt is around just over half a bushel per acre. So they're really, really similar, which is, I mean, that's less than the factory standards. So we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna go hop back in. I just walked down this hill. I'm gonna hop back in and we'll get to combining. All right, guys, I'm out here now. I'm gonna turn it on. So this one turns on my thresher. You have to do it at idle. Now I can rev it up all the way and turn my header on. There we go. Now I'm gonna drive over here and we're gonna get going. There's Christopher and the Fendt right there. Now the one downside about having a 45-foot header and a 40-foot header is we're gonna have to shift our lines like every time we turn around because our GPSs are gonna be just a little bit off, which that's fine. We were trying to get one with a 40-foot header, but you know, I'd rather get one to try versus not get one because they couldn't get a 40-foot header. So we got one to try that has a little bigger header than we would need or want, but it is a nice header and it's doing a great job. We're gonna get started right up here behind Christopher and we'll start cutting. Because it is a 40-foot and a 45, I think this is gonna be a little skinny row, so every once in a while when we get done opening up around, the outside row is always a little narrow, so I'll just pick it up even though it's a little skinny row. It wouldn't normally be that way, but that's what you get when you have two different size headers. Okay, I just put it down. It's not gonna be that skinny of a row. It's gonna be pretty good, but we're just gonna kind of get it centered here. And then there's a button right here. I can snap the GPS and then set it. Now if I speed up a little bit, if I push this little E, it does Harvest Smart. And it adjusts the speed. Here's the speed, we're going 3.4 right now, but it'll adjust up to 4 miles an hour. But then depending on how much is coming in, it will slow it down or speed it up. And I know that one has the same feature, but this actually isn't ours. Ours is getting worked on, so this is a loaner. It's exactly like ours, but we have not set up that Fendt to run the automatic speed up, slow down adjustment type thing yet. So that one does have that feature, but it is not set up, unless Christopher set it up recently, I don't know. It wasn't set up before. But yeah, down here we have our bushels per acre. I don't know what a bunch of this stuff is. These are our settings, so our different settings in here. We have the threshing speed, thresher clearance, cleaning fan speed, the chaffer clearance, and the sieve clearance. So that is all how we have it set. I don't know if you drive combines and you want to see what we're running, that's what we're running. So that is what our John Deere is set to. And we're only having I think we have right around half a bushel per acre loss, which is really not much at all. And then I think the Fendt, we tested behind that one, and it was around 0.8, so just over half. So they're both under a bushel acre loss, which they're both running really well. But watching it come into the header has always been a really, it's really mesmerizing to watch. It's just running so well. Now this auger on top, ours doesn't have that. We almost bought a honeybee header that did have that little auger on top, and we might still get one of those in the future. But for now, our header seems to be doing pretty good. Yeah, like I said before, one of the only things that you'll notice is the windrows. The windrows are a little bit different. The Fendt windrows don't have hardly any chaff in them because the Fendt blows all the chaff out the sides in the back. This does not. It just puts all the chaff and everything right into that windrow. So if you don't windrow your stuff, if you just shred it, then that really probably wouldn't be an issue for you. But down here we do have some wild oats. Let me know in the comments if you also have wild oats and where your farm is, because around here wild oats are getting pretty bad and they're resistant to just about every spray out there. Now a little rundown of this cab. It is very roomy. I had the John Deere rep in here, and he was sitting right here, and he was a big guy just like me, and we both sat here just fine. It was no problem at all. So we have this. Underneath here is your fridge. So there's a little fridge down in there. The Fendt also has a fridge. I'm sure Christopher will show you guys that. We've got multiple little cubbies. Back here there's a little, that's actually where I put my lunch, so my lunch is back in there. Plenty of little ports and outlets. I like the foot pegs back down in here. I'm pretty sure our Fendt has these little foot pegs too. Just makes it more comfortable. And we're going up a hill, so it hasn't slowed down much, still going 3.5. I do like this ergonomic handle. It's the same one. This is actually the same cab that's their swather, their John Deere swather. And we just demoed one of those not too long ago either. So this handle is super ergonomical. I love that. It's so comfy. There's a little cell phone holder right here, little cubby there, and then you have some shelves, cup holders, more cup holders. This is a big bin, so I have a bunch of stuff in here. All my filming stuff's in there. And then a big spot down here that I have my drone, and there's plenty of room down there. And then like plenty of room for dog, kid, whatever. You can put a couple kids in here. Got a nice radio, nice AC. You have some sunshades for when it's really sunny. You have one on that side, one right there. Strangely enough, none right here. I don't know why, but yeah, it seems to be really comfortable, really nice. I don't have any complaints about it. We can see right here how full I am. So I'm 42% full. Now this one does have a smaller grain tank than the Fendt, but it hasn't been too big a deal. But we're just moving right along, cutting some wheat. Looks like Christopher is just about heaping full. With two combines, we're really keeping our grain cart driver, we're really keeping her going. She's running back and forth, and we doubled the amount of trucks that they brought and drivers, so hopefully we have enough trucks and drivers to keep going. We don't have to stop much. Back here we have our window into our grain tank, and I'll show you the grain tank once we actually get this empty, but you might be able to see all the kernels of grain just sitting against that window. It looks really nice, and that it looks kind of dirty, but that's just like the casing around the shells. It's just a little light blowy stuff. It blows out really easy, but the grain is looking really clean. It looks really nice. Like this combine is doing an excellent job. I don't have a whole lot of bad to say about it. Like it's comfortable. I think this is also, from what I can feel, I'm pretty sure it's an air conditioned seat. Like it's pretty nice. The creature comforts are definitely there. It's definitely good. Looks like Christopher's just about to dump into the grain cart. The grain cart's hurrying over before he runs it over onto the cab. But you can kind of see blowing out right there. That's those little blower fans. It's blowing the chaff out. Now I can feel the machine growling. So it's pulling in a lot more than it wants. So it growls and then it slows down. It's like, okay, we're getting too much. We need to slow down. Right here is my losses on my sieve and my rotor and my tailings. So my losses are really low from what it is thinking. We actually did some adjustments when the John Deere guys were here. So let me go in, I believe it's in here. And let's set this to current. So we're actually, current is 44, which I don't know what that number means, but that's just the current losses. So now this will be more kind of in the green. Oh look, there we go. Now he's dumping into the grain cart. And we have a bunch of grain videos. Well, not dedicated grain videos, but we have update videos in all of our current episodes. So if you're a new viewer and you want to see some more grain stuff, as well as potatoes, we're potato growers. We check potatoes, we check the grain, we harvest the grain, so we do a lot in the videos. So we have grain updates as well as potato updates in our normal videos. So if you like this video and you think you would like some of our other stuff, go check it out. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And we'll keep going here. Let me send it over to Christopher and he will show you the inside of the Fendt. Now that you've seen the inside of the John Deere. There's also a lot of buttons down here like first and second gear. Ooh, I'm getting close, I'm catching up. I'm also getting kind of full, 72. But there's a bunch of buttons here that I don't really know what do. They showed me everything I needed to know to run it, but there are a lot of settings that I don't know what they do. So we'll keep running here. I'll send it over to Christopher and he can show you the Fendt.
All right, what's up guys? So I'm going to show you a little bit about some of the creature comforts. We just did a walk around for both the John Deere and this Fendt, our Fendt, and let's go over some of the creature comforts that I like. Some of the options and stuff there are. Obviously up here you got your radio, your air, lights. There is a lot of vents. There's different sunshade just about everywhere you look. There's a sunshade in front of us. This sunshade over here, you can actually take this off. It's magnetic, and move it to the side or wherever you want it. We'll start down here on this side over here. So these are shelves. I mean, here's a coat hook. This is different like shelves to go into. Here's my camera mount. Here is some 12-volt plug-ins, and this right here is a fridge. And so you set your temperature on your fridge right there, and actually the other day it was freezing my water bottle, so I had to rearrange how I sit stuff up in there. That is a fridge. Has lots of storage on the side. It has a heated and cooled seat. Let's go over to this other side. Again, there is more storage for it. Right here, this is a phone holder and charger. It's a Ram quick grip, but it is powered. You can see it's got a cable that goes down there. It's powered. I don't sit my phone there because, hey, you can't watch it if it's sitting right there. And anyway, right now what we're doing, we're going to dump into the grain cart. And you can watch that for a second. And then we'll get back to our creature comforts. I can't remember exactly the bushel per second it unloads. I want to say it was 6, 8, 10 bushel a second. So it doesn't take very long to empty the almost 500 bushel bin on here. But anyway, we will just go over some more creature comforts. This one has an iPad mount. This is my phone mount up here. It also is an iPad mount. I can just set my phone in there, plug it in, and watch movies. There is a storage under the armrest. You also adjust your mirrors with that. Yeah, this is not mine. There's a lot of storage down under the seat. There's a lot of storage and cup holders off here to the side. And you can move the armrest up and down a long ways and forward and back until it's comfortable. I know that's one thing that I've told John Deere with their tractors. Okay, so we're empty, so we're gonna shut off the unloading auger, let it finish drizzling out, and then we will run it back to the side of the machine. And he will go and get a load from Taryn. It's kind of hard to see in the mirror, but he is behind me. So there's obviously all the buttons. You got your header, your rotor. This is the park. You have your automatic header heights, reel speeds are all automatic. This shows us here our speed, RPMs, our fuel, our depth, the concave or the rotor loss, the sieve loss. It tells us right here that the auger is in and how full the tank is. This is how many bushel it is going per acre. So right now we're just right around 150 bushel average per acre. This shows us some of our losses. This is our GPS. Up here is some of our settings in that corner. You got your rotor setting, you got how many bushels are in your tank, your header height. That green means it's GPS is on. So these 4 dots up here are your metering gates or streamer gates on your auger, so you can let, if you know you're not going to finish emptying, you can close that down and basically shut off how much, or close way down to like 1 bushel a second or whatever, to how much comes out. This is our GPS, and this just, I mean, there's so many different settings on here that you can go to. Right here, here's our bushel per acre average, how many we're doing an hour, about 1,700 bushel an hour. The average moisture, you know, that's how many hours are on the machine, how many acres it's done. Anyway, everything's fully customizable and you know, pretty comfortable. Here's some footrests down there to rest your feet on. The steering wheel, same thing, moves all over the place for you. So there's lots of different creature comforts, you might call it. Now you sit in here, these chairs are just as comfortable, if not more comfortable, than like an office chair that you got to sit in all day. Last week I think I put I was between almost just shy of 100 hours of seat time in this in 6 days, and so, or 7 days. Anyway, so I'm about 14 hours or so, 15 hours sometimes if the dew doesn't come on, that we get to sit on this seat. And so you can tell that your rear end would get sore pretty quick if you did not have a comfortable cab, comfortable seat, nice air conditioning, and nice quiet cab. It's really quiet in here. I don't know how much you can actually hear the machine, but yeah, so we're just cutting away, and we will let you get to look at the John Deere. I know we'll probably have a longer video just of our wheat harvest with more of the same stuff that is in this video. Anyway, well, we will talk to you all soon. We're just moving over to open up a new section. The grain cart driver's like, hey, you need to dump into me. I know, but I'm gonna get going. I'm just gonna follow right behind him and we'll keep going here. All right, I got my auger out there. I'm gonna start dumping. We'll get dumping here. There we go. I was 90% full. So there is also a setting, we don't have it hooked up, but you can, if you have 2 John Deere machines, you can actually hook up machine sync, and the John Deere, the grain cart will hook on to the same line and everything as this, and then the combine driver can actually control the combine from, or control the grain cart from his display over here. This display you could actually control forward, backward, side to side on the grain cart, so you could get it just where you wanted when you're dumping it. Also, when it's dumping, I can tap this forward and backward, and it will move. It'll move my dumping, whatever it's called, the auger. It'll move the auger forward and backward. Now we can look back here, and you guys can see the tank emptying while I finish dumping into the cart.
kudos to whoever designed this. This stuff is very, very complicated. All right, it's almost empty. Looks like we're just about there. So I'm gonna hit this button. That will stop it. It takes a minute to clean out, and then it will shut off. Once it's off, I push another button, and away it goes. She's full. She's got to go hurry and dump, because we're gonna dump at the other end, both of us, because then we're gonna go over here and we're just gonna go right through the middle. So we got to dump so we can make it all the way to the other end. So we're gonna go around this pivot here and then hop over and keep going. It's always fun to watch the grain tank fill up too. It's all that wheat that we've been babying and taking care of all year finally getting into the grain tank so we can haul it in. Looks like Christopher's just about full. I just dumped into the grain cart. She's having quite a time trying to keep up with both of us. But so far, we have about finished this field already. Having two combines really rips through the ground. We don't have much left of this field. We're gonna move across to a field right over there in a minute. Well, not in a minute. We still have a little bit to do on that side, but not much. So we're keeping her busy, that's for sure. But this thing's been running great so far. Haven't really had any problems with it. It's kind of nice, the automatic system that kind of adjusts the speed based on how much is coming in. It's been pretty nice. It's just been working. The one problem I have had is I constantly have to adjust the height of the reel, because sometimes I'll look away and then all of a sudden the grain will get shorter. Like we get to a gravelly spot, it'll get shorter, the reel comes out of the grain, and then it just like pushes it over, and it kind of bunches up and then pushes the grain over versus cutting it. But if I pay attention close enough, that doesn't happen. But we're gonna keep on going.
All right, so we just got to the end. Figure we'll wait for Taryn. I know he was doing some drone shots. Here's our grain cart driver. So because his bin is smaller, it's really hard for him to make it clear to the end of this pass, because it is yielding so good, which it's a good problem to have. That's why we have a grain cart, so you don't have to try and make it to the end. And so she'll probably turn around, he'll pull up to the end, then he'll dump. We'll see if we can get a little some footage of that. He has his auger out now, and it looks like he has stopped, saying he is full and cannot hold anymore. All right, so we told you about some of the creature comforts here in the Fendt. Now we're going to tell you a little bit about some of the specs for this machine, and then we'll kind of compare them to the John Deere a little bit. So this is called a Class 9 combine. It's an Ideal 9 Fendt, and I don't know how every manufacturer rates their different classes, but this Class 9, it has 650 horsepower, 647 I think. So 650 horsepower, has twin 24-inch rotors. The rotors are 16 feet long. It has has the beaters up front that kind of evenly distribute all the grain coming in that goes over the rotors, and it has a longer rotor section where it drops the kernels out onto the chaffer and the sieves, and then all of the straw stays up high and comes out the back, where all of the chaff and foreign material that gets ground off the straw drops onto the chaffer and sieves, and then the fan blows up through all that. I think this has 4 fans, and so you can get a lot of material separation, and then all the chaff that gets blown up does not go into the straw, into the windrow. It gets blown out the sides. There's 2 chaff spreaders, so all of that funnels to those chaff spreaders. It spreads it out to the sides of the windrow and not in the windrow of straw. This one has a 485 bushel grain tank. Now I can tell you, it's pretty dang accurate, because about 490 yesterday, I filled it twice to right around 500 bushel, and it was pretty dang full. And so we didn't run it over, but you about can't move, or you don't want to stop or speed up very quickly. And I know the John Deere, he'll probably tell you about that. That one I believe is a Class 9 combine too. The X9000, it has 550 horse, so it's about 100 horse less than this one. The rotor length is 11.5 feet. It does have the twin 24-inch rotors as well. I like the header, the wider belt in the center of the header for bringing material in. Seemed to work really good. And we were going to demo a MacDon header for this that was similar, but I also know AGCO and Fendt are working on a new header for the next year or two. I think there's some prototypes out that they are working on. Probably because people like me have complained a little bit about them. Not too loudly, but it works good for the most part. I just don't work the machine really hard because it is yielding high. We try to drop the header height quite a bit so we can get a lot of stubble. Or so we don't get a lot of stubble, but we get a good windrow, get a lot of straw. The John Deere's grain tank capacity I looked up on the X9000 is 420 bushel, so about 65 bushel less than this one. The X9 1100 is 460 bushel, so still a little bit less than this one. There is a Fendt Ideal 10, so a bigger one than this one. It has 790 horsepower. Same with the John Deere. There's an X9 1100, and I think it was about 680 horsepower, so only about 30 horsepower more than this one. Anyways, same thing with New Holland. Everyone's coming out with bigger combines. Unfortunately, the bigger they get, they're cool, they're awesome, but they also come with a hefty price tag. Both of these machines, brand new with the headers, are probably around $1 million, give or take 100 or 2,000 each way, depending on what header you get and how you order them and how you have them set up. I know I don't remember now about the John Deere, but I know the Fendt, you can order tracks in the front, and instead of a steering wheel you can order joystick steering, and I've heard people really like that. But last year, this was the first Fendt combine sold this in the Rocky Mountains, like this side of the United States. There were some up in Canada. Now there's maybe a dozen or so, this side of the United States, over in Washington, Oregon, here in Idaho. I know there's some up in Montana, Utah, Colorado, and so they're becoming more popular. It's a really good machine. We really like it. John Deere also makes a good machine. Both machines are doing, like Taryn was saying, about a half of a bushel loss, depending on, obviously there's a lot of factors, how fast you go, how heavy it's yielding. We could set it up just like I think his is set up. Set everything up automatically, and then it will speed up and slow down according to the crop settings, so it doesn't lose the yield out the back. This one does the same thing. Has all of the sensors for it has 4 sensors for the concaves. It has a bunch of sensors for the chaffer, the sieve, the blower, the speed, and so they can all be set up automatically kind of the same way. So yeah, they all do a good job. It's just what you prefer or what fits in your budget. Now this one that we have was demoed for 2 years. It only had like 160-ish, maybe less than that, separator hours, so actually like running through grain when we got it. And we got it for, we'll just say we got it for half the price with the header roughly as you could buy a new X9 1100 John Deere with the header on it. So it definitely fit more in our budget, being a demo machine, It came with a 5-year full replacement, like full warranty, where they even change all the fluids. The only thing I think they don't change is the air filters and the fuel filters, you know, because that could be dependent on what kind of day or what kind of material you're in, how dirty your air filters get, and then what kind of fuel you put in the combine to see, you know, how dirty your fuel filters get. But for the most part, everything else fits in it. Now I'm sure Taryn's getting pretty full because I am full. My machine is saying 485, 486 bushel, which is its capacity. And so we're just going to slow down a little bit. Our grain cart driver is just about here. It'll start to run over. It actually dumps onto the cab a little bit once I get to that about 500 bushel mark, and I'm at 496, 497, and there I'm turning on right now. And she probably knows that she had to hurry to get here because, yeah, if you can see this bushel counter right here, right there at the top, 503. So it keeps going up even as I'm dumping. It doesn't reset itself until after I shut the auger off. And so that right there is our bushel on the machine. Sorry, it's a little dusty. But anyway, so yeah, we are just out here trying to make as much progress as we can, getting this wheat out so we can get ready for potatoes and work in the ground. We got to work all this 1,600 acres and get the water all going again and try to get this job done. So hopefully you've enjoyed this comparison video, and appreciate John Deere for giving us you know, a one-day demo on an X9 combine. And so hopefully, you know, guys, go check it out. Go to your dealerships, go to who's close to you and compare and see what fits in your budget. Or if you need one, you know, see what kind of service is out there. All you're doing anymore, I think, with these machines, they're going to get the job done. A lot of times you're just paying for service. As you've seen in my videos, we have had excellent mechanics and customer service and people at Agri Service for this Fendt machine. So now I am empty. I'll shut mine off. I know she usually likes to stop at the end, but where I'm about done, and I'll fold my auger in and we'll go to the next one.
Alright, well, Christopher is picking up the last little strip of this field, and we will be heading over to the other field. We've already done a lot today. I think this field was well over 100 acres, and we knocked it out in just about 5 or 6 hours. So it went pretty fast with 2 combines. Good grief, this combine's been working great. No complaints, honestly. All right, I'm crossing the road, but there's a street sign right here. Luckily I can just lift up over it. Okay, well, I was able to get across the road mainly because I can push this button right here, and the header, if we can do it. Yeah, see that? Ooh, header tilts. So I was able to just lift it over the street sign. So that was kind of nice. We're just going to open up the end of this field, and then the semis will have to come over here, and we'll get started on this big patch. Okay, so something that we thought about, we've been going most of the day. We've done a lot, finished that field, we moved over to this field. So something we've thought about is like how, if you guys are watching this thinking, well, which one do I want to buy? What should I look at? Okay, so we're gonna go through, and Christopher's gonna go through on his, we're gonna go through and show you like the bushels per acre, which is more just like how the field's doing, but we're also gonna show you bushels per hour, which is your throughput through the machine. Should give you an idea of how much you can actually chew through with this thing. So if I come down here, I'm just going to click on this and go into where we can see all the things. So this is just time work, area work today. I've done 61 acres. That we spent half the day setting it up, so that's not super important. We have, I guess here's our instant, so we're bumping around between 120 to 170 bushel per acre on this field. kind of jumps up and down. The average is 120. That's what it's saying. Let's see. Come down here. So throughput. So our average, the average throughput is 1800, but it jumps up just based on, because this slows down and speeds up or whatever. So this jumps from about 1700 to 2083, 22, so 2200. So it jumps, so it can do a lot. It can do over 2000. And honestly, we just got into this field, we just opened it up, so that's probably why the average is down. On the other field, before we switched, this was right around 2000. I think it was actually a little over 2000 bushels per hour. And then just coming down here, we've used 92 gallons today. Fuel per hour, 21 gallons. Some people might want to know that. Our average fuel per hour is a lot less because we had a lot of time idling, just trying to get it set up and calibrated. But yeah, those are just different things that I thought somebody who might be wanting to buy one of these would want to know. So we thought we would show you all these different things that it tracks. And if you are trying to decide if you want to buy one of these, you would want to know that to see what it can do. I have a bunch of downed wheat right here, so I got to lower my reel down. But yeah, I hope that helps if you are trying to make a decision on what to buy. Obviously price is a big factor, but you also need to be able to, if you're trying to put a lot of acres through this thing, you need to be able to do that and put a lot of bushels through the machine too. So Christopher's dumping, and then when he's done, I'm gonna dump, and then we'll just keep on chugging along on this big old field over here.
Hey, I don't know what you guys think, but I might be full. So I had to cut down here next to this pivot center, and it all of a sudden started yielding really high. I didn't think I'd make it, but I went until I started to get a little bit of cab grain, which it barely started to run over up on top of the cab. So I got to go really slow getting out of here. I just moved the pivot, so now I just have to beat the pivot, but I might have a little bit on the cab. Not much, I don't even think that's 1 bushel, so you know, it's worth coming up here to do that. But as you can see, it is at the seams. I gotta go really slow until I can get to where I can dump into the grain cart. All right, so I thought, I'm in the Fendt. I thought I would show you a little bit about some of the harvest data right here. So that number, that 2087, that's how many bushels per hour we are doing. The right, that 1703, that's average bushels per hour per day. And so we are getting a lot done, especially with these 2 machines. I think Taryn was doing about 1800. So we're both right there with how much these machines can do per hour. Now, to put that a little bit in perspective, our semis are hauling, I think, a little over 1200 bushel. And so we can more than fill a semi per hour. Our grain cart holds a little over 1,000 bushel. So, you know, and this, like my tank holds just shy of 500. I just did a load where I put a little bit of grain on the cab, but I had to move a pivot. I had to get up to the pivot center. So I actually put 528 bushel in my bin, and I put maybe 2 or 3 bushel on top of the cab as a little hump. However, I don't know if it's just a Fendt thing, but the top of the cab has all these little lines and veins that slope down toward the front, and they slope toward the inside. So if there's grain on the cab, it'll go off of the front of the cab and fall right onto the header to then be hopefully sucked back into the machine. So I'm not saying, you know, I want to do that all the time, but anyway. So yeah, some of the harvest data right now. Again, I'll show you one more time. There it is. We're doing, it's about 137.46, 151 bushel per acre right now. Our average for the whole day is 140. and we're, you know, we're about 2,000 bushel per hour is our speed at the moment. So yeah, these machines are pretty impressive. So anyway, I'll have to dump now because I'm about full. With this high of a yield, it doesn't take very far. You don't have to go very far with a 40-foot header or the John Deere 45-foot header to get 500 bushel, 400 bushel in the bin. So anyway, well, thanks for watching, and yeah, enjoy the video.
Well, I'm right here behind Christopher. His lights are flashing because he's almost full. I'm at 82%. And Brandy's over there in the grain cart because all the semi-trucks are still in the other field over there. And we can't unload going this way because both of our augers stick off to this side. So I guess if we get full, we'll have to back up so she can come out and get us emptied. So this is working really well. It's doing a great job. Well, Christopher and I got full at the same time, so we're just both gonna dump into the grain cart from both sides at the same time. So that's something you don't see every day. We will definitely get her basically all the way full. So I'm back going again. So one thing that all combines, when you're spending $1 million on a combine, all combines should have a little windshield wiper on your mirror that just wipes it off so you can actually see out of it, because it gets so freaking dusty and I don't want to go out there and clean it 3-4 times a day. I can't see out of either one of my mirrors because they just have a little layer of dust on them. Put a windshield wiper on the mirrors, please. That is an easy thing to do. I'm not asking for much. You sure do get some nice sunsets during wheat harvest, but it also makes it really hard to see because the wind dies and then it's just dusty as can be and you can't see anything. But I'm gonna go ahead, push this little button and start unloading. Get the grain tank empty and then I gotta go open up another round. There's just something satisfying about watching a grain tank empty. Just like that, we're empty. Well, that's a pretty shot right there. Beautiful sunset. Turn my windshield wipers on, might be able to see better. Look at that view. Let's get this thing turned around. By the time I get to the other end and come back, it'll probably be gone. Also, I have no idea. Oh, I can see him. I was like, I couldn't see the other combine. It's right there. You can barely see him through this dust. Well, the hour has come to turn the lights on, and I can't see almost anything. It's so dusty, and all the dust is just settling. You just can't see anything. Like, Christopher's behind me and he says he can't even see my combine, so it's a real dusty one tonight. Granted, I think it's like this about every night.
All right, so it is, I don't even know what time it is, 8:30 almost, and just the dust coming off of the grain. You know, here's looking out my front window. Taryn is right there in front of me, and then he is dumping into the grain cart, but it's really hard to see. The dew's coming on a little bit, so they're starting to growl. It's getting a little bit tough. He had to slow down to about 1 mile an hour, 1.5 mile an hour. I was going 2.5 still, but I about can't see him other than just now coming up onto him. I'm not behind him anymore because that's the look out the side that goes behind him. I can't see anything. I can actually see more if I look through the camera. But anyway, so yeah, we're just about done. I think we're about out of trucks for the day. So it's been a good long day, and yeah, might get a little bit more done, enough to just fill the grain cart. All right, we're gonna get up really close and see if we can play a trick on Taryn. When he sees 2 headers in his window, I wonder what he'll think. I know he couldn't go super fast. I could go a little bit faster. I don't want to plug because it is getting a little tough. Oh, he's almost to the end, so he's not going to see me here gaining on him. But anyway, I was going to play a little trick on him, but I'm going to have to let y'all go this time because I got to navigate around some pipe up here. There's Christopher. Brandy's right behind him. We don't have any more trucks that are empty. Now they might bring out an empty one, but I'm not sure. So I need to make sure that we get this. There's just a little bit in there. It says I'm 8% full. We need to make sure we get this all dumped into the grain cart. So when they take this back tomorrow, it doesn't have our grain in it. But that was a real pretty sunset while it lasted. Looks like he's full too. Alright, this will be one of the last dumps of the day. I'm gonna start dumping in here. I'm gonna have to control it a little bit. Christopher's right there. You can barely see him with his headlights on. I'm gonna have to move this boom a little bit, so I'm gonna put the camera down while I do this. Alright, there she goes. Yeah, I think we're just about done. She did say there's one more semi, so we could fill them up, but here's the thing. We've had to slow way down because if I go any faster, my losses really start to creep up, and we don't want the losses to creep up. So, and the reason for that is it is in the evening now, so the dew is starting to come on, and so it's just getting kind of tough, and it's having a hard time threshing it. So we are probably just about done for the day. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Today we did how many acres? I think we did close to 240, 250 acres today in about 10 hours. We were averaging about 2,000, no, I was 2,000 bushels per hour. You were 2,000.
Yeah.
So that'd be about 40,000 bushels.
40,000 bushels today.
In 10 hours.
In 10 hours of cutting.
So,
but I mean, both of these machines are awesome. So the John Deere, it worked great. I honestly have no complaints about it. There's probably a few more adjustments we would probably make if it was ours and we had more time to play with it, but we didn't really have the time. But we got it adjusted so it would work really well. And then the Fendt, I mean, we've run the Fendt for a long time. It works awesome as well.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself. It's a great machine. No complaints there either.
So, let us know in the comments which one you guys would take, the John Deere or the Fendt. We like both of them. And honestly, it just comes down to price. We're happy to drive whatever one we can get our hands on. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If this helped you in any way decide on what combine you wanted to get, I'm glad you got some use out of it. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.